Good morning. I love you. A latte. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Peekaboo. I'm here. Oh, there's a little kiss from me. I love you guys. Good morning. I'm Lisa Ekberry, your hair doctor. It is Valentine's Day. Now you go out and you go tell someone you love them a latte. You love them a lot. And I just wanted to say to you this morning, that was the first thing I wanted you to see, was that I love you. This is Valentine's Day. This is the day that we stop and say, you know what? I love you. You know what? I'm going to do something nice for you. My husband gave me that balloon that I thought I got to share. Also, he gave me roses, and I absolutely love, if you know anything about me, you know I love roses. And so he gave me pink roses. I have all colored roses. I know red is love, but he knows that I love all color of roses. Isn't this beautiful? And it smells so good. So this is my rose to you. All of you out there who have folks that are saying they love them, and if you don't, I'm saying it. I love you. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay. So let's see what's going on today. We're going to get right to the book. I don't know, for some reason I'm having problems getting online this morning, afternoon, this evening. It's whatever it is for you. I'm having some problems getting online. Let's try to see if we can get on, because I wanted to get your questions answered today, but I was having some problems. There we go. Maybe I can get online. For some reason I wasn't able to get on one of the pages. I don't know what it was. But anyways, so hope you're having a great morning, evening, or afternoon. Having fun, giving someone a big hug and a I love you kiss today. Find someone to do that. Oops, something on my nose. Find someone to do that with. So yeah, I just wanted to stop and say that. So I just can't get off of that. Let's see. I'm trying to find your questions. Here we are. Okay. So let's get right to it. Okay, we didn't get a whole lot of questions. Let's see. Okay, someone said, you mentioned that your views were down on one of your videos. I think it might have something to do with YouTube. I haven't been getting your videos in my subscription box. I love watching you. Ooh, well, thank you for telling me that, because it was just, I normally get a tremendous amount. You see it, how many views that we get. But they're back up, but it was just kind of a weird thing for a minute. I just didn't get as many as I normally would. But, I know you're out there watching me. Okay, well, thank you for telling me that. Might be YouTube. It says, and thank you for watching my videos, and happy Valentine's Day to you. Okay, Nikki Love, I love you. Look at that, right on Valentine's Day. I love you. You're absolutely amazing. God is amazing. I thank God for the amazing things He's doing in my life. Many blessings to you. Many blessings to you, Nikki Love. Thank you for answering my questions, as the next person said. And the next one said, congrats on your new natural hair salon. I would love to come and celebrate. Oh my goodness, you know what I've got to do? I've got to do a virtual tour. I've got to get that for y'all. It is super cool. And I've just been talking about it with everybody because I'm so excited about it. Because like I said, every day, all day, I'm in my institute, and I'm looking through microscopes, and I'm helping people with hair problems. I love that. But why I'm so excited about this is because people are going to be blessed to not get in trouble with their hair. They're going to have hair wellness and maintenance and prevention. And I just want to share it and just take it all over. So if you can come, yes, that would be great. If not, we're going to get you a virtual tour. And don't think that I've forgotten my cyber family, my cyber photo album. I have not. My web designer has just been a little slow. This year, when we lead up to 2014, I tell you, there's some things that are going to start in September so that everything is on the site like it should. They're like 2 months behind. It's like crazy. I really never had this problem, but it's just things are getting busier in the cyber world. But with that being said, I love her, and she's great, and she's outstanding. Plus, I'm a little bit slow on getting certain things to her. With that, let's see. You said, I would love to come and celebrate. Yes. But yeah, I said I'm not going to forget my cyber family, my photo album, and my tour. Don't think I've forgotten any of that. But there's lots of great things happening. I can tell you right away, we're going to do, our tour will basically start in June. But I'm going to try to get that calendar up on the website of where we'll be. I know we'll be in Orlando, and we'll be here in Memphis, but it'll kind of kick off in Memphis, and then we'll go Chicago, we'll have Atlanta, we'll have several, I mentioned Orlando. These are places where people are really asking me to come. I think Detroit was one of them, but we'll get that up. Okay, tour dates. All right, now the other question was, but you're way across country. Let's see. The question is, what is the best oil to seal in moisture? You stated you don't recommend coconut oil, and she said, thank you. Well, I just recommend oil that has a smaller weight. Now, in other words, when you put it on the back of your skin, your hand, it just gives a nice shine, but not a blazing high shine, super high shine, and then that it doesn't feel sticky. You can have them, like we have an oil in a jar that's packed pretty dense, but when you rub across the top, you don't get that wet kind of greasy kind of feel. You just get an oil, you know it's there, it's dense, and when you put it on your hand, it just rubs in. So I don't want to say, if your coconut oil is processed in a way where the weight is very small, because they can process it without causing any problems with its content and keeping it natural. And so it just depends. Just do that little test. But I don't recommend coconut or olive and all those on the hair. Not that they're not natural and great. They're great oils. It's just there are other ways to do it so you don't have that buildup and you don't attract dirt and debris. That's all. It's nothing wrong with it. If it's working for you, keep going. You know what I say? If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. If you're doing well with it, but if you're having some problems with added debris on your hair, you're having problems with your moisture level staying up, then you may have the wrong oil sealing. Okay, now we're going to talk about hair texture and type. This is really, really crucial because as we continue the book, Every Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair, we need to talk about texture and type because that's a big deal for a lot of people. So let me just kind of read some of the things I said in my book. A large number of women are confused about two simple things as they relate to their hair. This lack of understanding is causing most of their hair dilemmas. Really, it is. I am talking about hair texture and hair type. When I asked women to tell me about their hair, I got responses such as poker straight, good hair, bad hair, thick hair, thin hair, and coarse hair. Understanding your hair texture and type and the difference, just differentiating that, will allow you to take better care of your hair and literally may save your hair, especially people who wear chemicals, because you have to understand those things. And individuals who are natural, but really, and I'll tell you why in a sec, you will be able to determine what is best for your hair. For example, how much heat your hair can tolerate, and which technique of styling works best for your hair. With your particular hair texture and type, you need to know those things, because if you don't, you're going to have a problem with overheating your hair, for example, by using heated tools at a temperature that's better for coarse hair, and you have medium or fine hair. But first, you have to have a clear understanding of what texture is and what type is. Hair texture and type should not be described as a negative phrases like bad hair. There's no such thing as bad hair. You know, we've talked about this. I don't think we've said this for a while, but I want to say it today on I Love You Day. You love your hair. Your hair is not bad. There's no such thing. And as far as I am concerned, all hair is good. All hair is good. We're blessed to have it. All of it's good, as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's talk about hair texture. I love you. I love my hair. You love your hair. That's it. God made your hair. God makes no mistakes. Okay, moving on. Hair texture is determined by the size of your strand. And I'm reading because I want to make sure that I keep this concise. Because you know me, I'll just get busy and be all over the place. Each individual hair strand, hair texture is determined by the size of each individual hair strand. Small strands are described as thin. Average or medium strands are described as medium hair, and large strands are described as coarse hair. Most women have multiple textured hair making up their hair. You may notice as your hair that your hair is coarse at the nape and fine in the crown. On the opposite, or the opposite may be true. I might not need to read this, guys. As you age, sometimes your hair texture changes. And let's kind of talk about this a minute. Because when we talk about fine hair, and I'm just going to, let's see how far I'm going into this. Okay. Now you notice some people will say, I have thin hair. With fine hair is a type of hair. It has these cuticles. It's the type of hair. A texture of hair, excuse me. Thin hair is not a texture of hair. Thin hair is hair that has been damaged beyond. It's lost its cuticle layers. It can't have any volume. Fine hair can have volume. It just can't be coarse. You see what I'm saying? You can have full hair, but not thin hair. In other words, if you have full hair, you're not going to have thin hair. So if you have full hair and you have small strands, the strands are fine. They're just small. But if your strands won't hold the style, they won't allow, you can't get any fullness at all, then your hair is thinning. And that means that you're probably losing some of the top layers of your hair shaft. When you're losing those top layers, then your hair strand is going to get smaller and smaller until it stand out. And that's what we call an unnatural texture change. Now, we see unnatural texture changes with people all the time. We see them with individuals who have coarse hair. Their hair goes from coarse to medium. We see it with individuals who have we see with individuals who have medium hair. Their hair goes from medium to fine. We see it with individuals with fine hair. Their hair goes from fine to thin. So you have to be careful. Now, what is that saying? It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And we can even see on one individual strand, I can see coarse, medium, fine, thin. Down that strand. Yeah. And that's what happens. So texture is very important. Because when you're losing texture and you're having a texture change that's not natural, a natural texture change or a texture change is coming from your follicle is going to happen at the hair close to the scalp. If you have hair close to the scalp that's full and large strands, and as you get to the ends, it's thinner, then that is an unnatural texture change. And at some point, and while I was transitioning and showing people how to, work with their hair, and I'm always conducting different studies on my hair. So, and I see that change. When you damage, you are going to lose precious layers. The danger to that at some point is you're going to lose layers so that you have lost the appropriate amount required to have the right elasticity that will hold the strand together. And if that happens, your hair is going to break. So that's why you have to have your top layers. Keep your hair a true texture, whether it's fine, medium, or coarse. Stay away from the texture changes. And how do you do that? You do that by making sure that your hair is not exposed to more than it can tolerate. For example, coarse hair can tolerate, and these are our studies, it's really something how much heat coarse hair can tolerate. But there's a thin line between just what it can tolerate and over. And when you go over the amount, it's going to burn. Well, coarse hair can tolerate 400, and my initial studies were like 300, 350 max, but some strands can tolerate 400 and still maintain its texture. That coarse hair. Fine, medium hair, we're looking at around 300. I just wouldn't go any higher than that. And fine hair, and you'll hear me fluctuate as I understand and see more. I mean, I'm going to always bring it to you if I see, oh, well, like with coarse hair, wow, coarse hair can, I mean, I was very sure that, oh, not beyond 300, 350. But I saw new things, I'm bringing it to you. And these studies. Fine hair, gotta be careful. Really, you can roller set that hair and get a nice set, even with natural hair, with fine hair, and get a straight look. You can roller set it, and then you can wrap it, put a small amount of moisture, then seal it with oil, tie it down, sit it in the jar a few minutes, and you've got a straight hair down. Or you can just have bounce curls. But if you use heat, you want to make sure that you're only using about 150, 200 degrees. You just don't need it. That hair straightens right out. You know it. Those of you with fine hair, you know that. You'll hear people say, my hair doesn't take much heat. Well, that's what they're saying. Because you can become overprocessed and your strands will begin to thin out. Because what happens, you'll burn through the cuticle layers into the cortex, and you'll flatten it just like you would if you were putting a chemical in the cortex. And we're going to talk more about heat damage as you requested and as we get to that. But that's with hair texture. Okay, heat damage is one of the ways that you can have an unnatural texture change. Anytime you've lost precious cuticle, move into the cortical fibers and they become exposed, then you're going to have a problem with your hair texture changing, which causes a problem with breakage. And other things, like aging damage causes your strands to become thinner and thinner. This is a process that will occur slowly over the life of that strand. So if your strand stays on your head anywhere from 2 to 4 years, that thinning process can happen during the whole time. You see I've got my collar popped, don't you? Well, you know, it's Valentine's Day and I just have to kind of do that for y'all. Okay, I'm ready. Over a period of time, the strand will lose its top layers, as I said, and it will be the point where there's really some problems with the hair breaking. I have identified this, and I've coined this disorder through my institute in my studies as short hair syndrome. That's this vicious cycle of growth and breakage. And we're going to talk about short hair syndrome more in some other chapters. But when you think your hair won't grow, when you're losing hair, your hair is getting thinner, fine, thin, you probably have short hair syndrome. Okay, let's talk about hair type. Hair type categorize the shape of the hair. That deals with the size, the way the hair is shaped. So when you say I have hair texture, you're talking about the size. When you have hair type, you're talking about the shape. Whether they're curly or straight, most people have one hair type that will dominate the entire head. In other words, you may have multiple types of hair, but you're going to have one hair. Like, I know my hair is kinky. When you look at me, my hair is kinky. Someone with straight hair, you look at them, my hair is straight. But you may pull through or look in the back or look in some area, and I may have some wavier strands. I may even have some straight strands. Not likely, but I may. When you look at someone with straight hair, you look and they may wet their hair and you see a little wave in some of their strands. Because you can have multiple hair. The things to remember about hair type shape is not the same. It's not the same as hair texture. And that's where people get confused. Many get confused and that leads to damage. For example, there was a patient who came in who had extremely kinky hair type. Very spiral, drew up to her scalp, very spiral. Beautiful hair, I thought, but it was just very spiral. When we pulled her strand out and viewed it microscopically, and you can see this with the naked eye, you don't have to have a microscope to see this. This particular person had fine hair. But she said she was always told that her hair was coarse. That is very problematic and dangerous. Because with fine hair that's really kinky, then most people treat it like coarse, then you're going to end up over-processed. You're going to over-process with heat, over-process with relaxers, over-process. You have to pull the strand out and look at the size of it. You have these little small pieces of hair, then you have fine hair. I don't care how thick it looks when it's up against your head. See, if you have good density, she had good density. The hairs per square inch were large in numbers. In other words, a tremendous amount of threads on her scalp, growing from her scalp. And they were very, very spiral, so they just kind of overlapped each other. I mean, she had the webbing and everything. Well, but when you pulled it out, she had a small strand. When you pulled it, just kind of lifted away from her, not pull it from her scalp. Okay, so that was very, very important. That mistake led to chemical damage and heat damage, over-processing that small strand. Despite how thick it looked, it was a small strand. And she didn't have enough support layers to withstand that. And you got to remember, the smaller the strand is, the less of those support cuticle layers that you're going to have. And the smaller your cortex will be. Well, this analogy, I think, really helps you to understand. Let me just say this particular one. I used to say it all the time. I don't say it that much anymore. Coarse hair is like a tree trunk. Fine hair is like a twig. If you hit a tree trunk, bop, it can just, it just never falls over. It's a tree trunk. It's there. You literally have to get a chainsaw to go through part of a tree trunk. Fine hair, and it's gone. And that's what it's like. So you got to understand there's not much that you can do. You don't have to chop a twig, but a tree trunk, you have to really, really chainsaw. So this is why so many people with coarse hair are so devastated when they lose hair, because their hair starts to break. Because I could do anything to my hair, and I used to could do anything, and my hair would never break. I don't know what happened. Well, what happened? You lost layer per layer per layer, and you didn't notice the fact, oh, my strands are getting not near as bulky. Your strands are getting finer and finer and finer, so they got thin. And they lost the elasticity, the appropriate amount required to hold itself together. And so the hair broke off. Yeah, it's pretty devastating. All right. I think that's it. I got Get those questions in. I'm shocked. I only had a few questions this week, but maybe some of you didn't get your video alerts. And YouTube, get it together, guys, or gals, whoever's running it. But next week, I'm going to do self-strand examination. It is very easy to learn, so you understand more about your texture and your type. So I'm going to teach you how to self-examine your hair. But get your questions in if you have any for me. Again, have a beautiful, beautiful I love you day. I got to do this one more time. I love you, a latte. Bye-bye. I'm going to make that the end of the video. So, I love you. See you next week right here. Oh, maybe I should do this as a picture. Snapshot. Oh, that'd be a good screenshot. Y'all can do that screenshot. But I've got to show you the lips again. Let me get it right on camera. I love you, love you, love you. If no one gave you a kiss today, I did. To God be the glory in Jesus. You know who I serve. I love you, and I love you. I love you, a latte.